G'day, welcome back to Brupeg. Last week you saw us rip into the front of the boat. Sometimes this happens with steel boats, you need to chase until you find the bottom of the rust. This week we're doing a bit more of that. We're hauling down until we can get into some good steel, so when we start repairing it, we're working with a really strong bond. Last week we got underneath our stainless floor. We cut a big hole. And what we needed to do was figure out how bad was the rust below it. So Jess got in there with a screwdriver and started bashing random bits of steel. She made a formal judgment on where we were working, what we needed to do, and how much plasmering needed to happen. Look at that. Oh, lovely. This is what we were left with. We drilled a hole just to sort of see where the worst bit. That was where the pinhole was. We wanted to make sure that we got through the worst part of it. Wasn't actually that bad, but we cut it out anyway. Right, so we're on the outside of the boat. What we're going to do is go through. We have two holes. We've got the little one at the bottom here, and then we've got the big one up there. We're going to go through and mark them off. I always use I like to do rounded corners on any patches that we're putting in the hull because it reduces stress in the corner. That's a trick that we learned from the commercial guys. And I always use a 5-inch cutoff disc just as my radius. Then I know pretty much every radius on the boat, plate wise, is going to be the same. Keeps it simple, and I've always got these discs around. So we'll get in, we'll draw it up, and then we'll start plasmering and grinding it out. And then we can walk it in by just extending it here and just cut it and bring it in.
That would be the minimum one.
I think that's our bulkhead there.
Yeah.
Okay, right there?
Yeah.
Walking home late at night, maybe 2:30. A little drunk, but I'm alright. Cause I've been hanging with you, and it feels like love. Tell me if I'm wrong, cause it feels like love. Yeah, it feels like love. Come on.
Struggling to get a spark. I think the earth might be a bit average.
Say it again.
I think the earth might be a bit average, or the air pressure's too high.
I want you here with me. Am I out of my mind, or is this how it should be? You made me sing about love, so just tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels like love. Yeah, it feels like love. Yeah. Don't know what you do, but you make it.
All done. So we cut a hole. Plan is now clean that hole up, V it out, ready to weld. We'll go in there and sandblast now that we can. Make sure it's all clean. We'll do some measurements, and if we need to creep that hole wider, we'll do that now. Let me show you this, because it really illustrates what we're trying to solve. So down the bottom of the hole, you can see we've got nice, thick, solid metal. It's really nice. And then you get to there, and you can see it really starts to thin out. It gets thinner and thinner, and then it's wafer thin by the time you're up the top there. So that's what we have to deal with, that's what we're cutting out, and that's the reason why we cut a big panel. So we've cut beyond where we needed to, and you can see we've got lovely thick steel, and we'll clean up this round all the way around, and then right the way up, it's nice and thick on this side, same deal at the top. So what the plan is now, we'll go through, we'll round out those edges, make sure that they're nice and got a really nice, even, clean radius on it. We'll V it off, and then we can start deciding how far back we're going to cut that steel on the hull.
So this is the bit that Dame cut out. You can clearly see the patch there, and you can see how thick the metal is on the side there, and then it drops down, gets really thin. That's the bit we're worried about.
You should let me know if you want this too. Baby, you just make me feel crazy. A little crazy for you.
I can really appreciate how strong the boat is. Look at that.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's a pretty stonking great piece
my
of metal.
finger. Look at that. It's half my finger.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm really glad that I cut it out, because I can see just how good or how bad it actually is for real, rather than just sticking my head down and hoping.
Yeah, and then look right through the tank, go fine tooth comb, just take our time because you can see every
Yeah,
part of it and
yeah.
just go slow. You got great ventilation for your working in there.
So we're back down into the spare room that we've got at the front of Brupeg's cabin, main cabin. We're going to be climbing down into the cofferdam. Cofferdam is the gap between the water tanks on the rear and the fuel tanks on the forward side of it, or forward side. What we need to do is open up the fuel tank. Now I've been dreading doing this because Richard and I sealed it with an aircraft fuel tank sealant, and this stuff sticks like you would not believe. However, we need to open it up. We have to get into this fuel tank because the rust on the crash bulkhead is just too bad. We're actually going to put a plate, we're going to cut some steel out, some rusty steel, and we're going to be putting a new piece of plate into the front of the fuel tank. So we have to get into the fuel tank, and part of that is we have to take out these 20 something bolts that hold the fuel tank access port on. We have to take those out. We have to get a little cutter. We've got this, I don't know what they're called, but little, like a random sort of zigzaggy cuttery thingy. That's the technical name. Yeah, Trev's brought this over. This is his. We're going to see if we can get this to chop into the rubber sealant that we use. If that's the case, then we don't have to take the tank off because the lid off. We know we can get in there when we need to. We'll just leave it on for now, but we just need to basically make sure that we can actually get into that tank with this. So that's today's job. We'll get that done, and we've got a bit of time. We'll start bashing out the rust that's left on that front rusty piece on the crash bulkhead. So I need it about there.
You want a 716?
Yeah. I think we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. It's just not even remotely cutting it. So we've just discovered that the aircraft sealant that we used on that tank, the gap between the hatch cover and the flange that it bolts to is really quite thin. It's less than 1 millimetre, and we can't get a knife in there to cut it. So, and the stuff is incredibly strong, so we're really struggling to be able to figure out how to break the bond and therefore peel the hatch cover off the flange. But we physically don't have room. We've tried a razor blade, and it's too thick to get in between the two pieces of steel. So Rich, the guy that helped me put these tanks together, I've spoken to him this morning, and he was saying that the aircraft guys basically cut it and then they put in 20 odd chisels all the way around it to peel it off mechanically. Wood chisel, and it just broke the wood chisel. So like, as in it's just a tempered steel blade, hardened steel blade, but we tried to basically get that in and it didn't even budge and it broke the wood chisel. So we're kind of having to come up with a few more plans. How'd it go?
Yeah, it'll be okay, I think.
Right. You need more power cord?
Just the chisel.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
Yes. We're in.
Lovely.
Got the tool? You put
yeah, hang on, I'll get it for you.
I think we're just about off.
that's what we've been trying to rip off all morning. So, lid off. Right, let's go see what's inside that fuel tank.
There are points where it will need to be inspected by the chief engineer.
Roger.
The river's gonna cry when you're gone.
We need to let you know.
Our little Mish passed away halfway through last week. He was pretty unwell for a while, and long story is a combination of health events, and kind of we had to race him to the vet.
He's been sick for a while, and his back went, and it was really serious, and it just happened. His back has been bad for a while, and we couldn't do anything to save him.
There was nothing that could be done to save him. So.
Thanks to all our lovely patrons supporting us, and everyone, family and friends, everyone's been amazing. And I think lots of people are missing him.
Yeah.
Thanks to our little Mishka for being with us through thick and thin, and he made our life so amazingly vibrant and gutsy. So life does go on, as painful as it is at the moment. So bye my little Mishka.
See you, Mishy boy.
Oh, what did you do that, did you?
Oh. Yeah, baby. Alright, then you just be quiet. No?
Standing under the lights,
Yeah, no, I'm after it.
look into each other's eyes. Tired snowflakes are coming down, collapse into water when they hit the ground. I hear the sound of empty streets. Yesterday has gone to sleep, so all that's left is you and me. I can promise you're the only thing I see.
So, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep chopping this hole back and see how far this cancer seems to spread. So, all the way down that bulkhead that you can see there, it's a wee bit hard in this light, but basically there's about probably 5 mil of steel that's been taken away. So it started off as a 6 mil plate, and there's next to nothing left. There's a couple of pinholes where it's gone through already, so today's job is to keep cutting back until we can get in there and know that we're dealing with good steel. Trev's just brought up a really good point. See where the old vertical used to be. See if I can get the camera to focus in there. Where the vertical used to be, you can sort of see it just there, and sort of working its way down the hull. Come on, camera, focus! Working its way down the hull there. There's no way that we could have seen this rust until that vertical was taken out and until the hull was opened up. So we thought that we weren't dealing with something as sort of chaotic as this, but yeah, them's the breaks. So the thought that we're having at the moment is where exactly to put the cut, and what we think we've settled on is putting it, we've got a 300 mil strip of steel that we're going to use. So that piece over there is 300 mil long and 300 wide, 1500 long. So we're going to use that as our hull plate. So we're thinking this is a 300 mil wide strip. You can sort of see between that line there and that edge, the far edge of that cut. So we cut that out, we've got our 300 gap. What we were thinking is we do have to do a little bit of pad welding right up in the corner up in here, because you can sort of see just there, it's wafer thin. So we're going to do a bit of pad welding there to make up for it. The thought that we did have is, do we go further in? Do we sort of cut, you know, we'll take it from the top here and go back and then down and have a strip out over here? I know that the steel on this side of the bulkhead is perfect, so I'm not too worried about that. But we're thinking it's actually going to be easier if we just pad weld this and then cut this out, because it allows us to then be able to weld from the outside of the boat rather than having to climb inside the boat to do more welding. We get more from the outside, so we're thinking it's probably going to be faster and easier to just yeah, leave it where it is basically. So we'll cut this out now and we'll get into hacking out that bulkhead. So sometimes you find stuff that you just find infuriating. You see they put a new floor in at some point and they've welded the stainless floor directly to rust. And there's literally nothing left because it's wafer thin. I put a plate on the other side when I did the fuel tanks, not realising how bad it was below the floor line here. But yeah, God, it's just annoying, isn't it? They've gone and welded right over top of something that was going to fail. Anyway, we can fix it now. So we've bashed it away and it's pretty clean. I'm pretty happy with how all of that sort of turned up. We've got to take this floor out because that support is, there's nothing left, it's gone. So we'll probably cut it back there, make maybe somewhere up here, make a new piece for that. And we'll cut this stainless floor out now. We'll cut it well back forward over there so that we can you know, get to this area of the weld and everything without it being an issue. Alright, so we'll start hacking that out.
Oh, are you wondering about something? Hey, what are you after? Are you after dinner? You after another walkies? Another walkies? Is that what you'd like? Just know the name. Little cutie patootie?
Walkies or beachies?
You realise we have to do that now.
Little Yoda head.